Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
I can't remember the number of times I've been called out on a Thanksgiving for something like this.
An unwelcome holiday tradition continued this morning in the form of deadly violence. San Antonio police say they found 4 people with gunshot wounds. It happened around 8 this morning at a home on Potomac Street. That's not far from North New Braunfels Avenue. 2 men in their 20s died from their wounds. 2 others were taken to a hospital. Police say all four victims were shot by someone else after the whole group spent the entire night in the home.
Don't know any more about a motive or what they were doing. But in the end, we got 4 people shot.
Police caught up with a man in a car a few blocks away and took him into custody. Chief McManus referred to him as the suspect in the shooting. San Antonio police have arrested a man in connection with a deadly road rage shooting earlier this month. 31-year-old Julie Butcher was found shot in the head on November 8th. It happened on the I-35 access road near Eisenhower and Rittiman. Her vehicle rolled over and she was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators identified 24-year-old Nicholas Hernandez as the shooter. Records show surveillance footage and multiple witnesses linked him to the crime. Police also found his vehicle and a stolen duffel bag during their investigation. Hernandez was arrested yesterday and is now charged with murder. A 12-year-old boy is turning heads on and off the court. His name is Finley, and he has a disability that prevents him from being able to walk. But he found a way. One of his latest adventures was a 5-mile hike. The night team Zaria Oates sits down with Finley, his family, and a park that's made the journey possible.
Fearless Finley McKee.
This is the accessibility badge. But the guy right here is the scuba diving.
Finley, who also goes by Finn, is 12, almost 13 years old. He's also pretty remarkable when it comes to sports.
Scuba diving, Boy Scouts, rugby, basketball, tennis.
In Boy Scouts, he's the only one with a physical disability, but at the same time, we don't let that stop him.
His disability severely impacts walking, but for Finn, no roadblock is too big. He and his family have found a way to make everything he wants achievable, including going for his Boy Scouts camping badge. The badge requires several challenges to be accomplished, including a 5-mile hike, a hike that wouldn't be possible for Finley without the assistance of these wheelchairs.
To have any experience in sort of the natural trail experience, there's no way without the equipment. And I think the collaboration with the state parks folks was amazing and really helped make it possible.
The accessibility manager for Texas Parks and Wildlife says access to inclusive hiking measures like they have are pivotal for people with disabilities.
Finley is pushing it like this. It's a lever-powered chair. We have about 20 of those chairs in our system across all the state parks.
I saw it first online, and I'm like, this thing is going to be great at some point. I had no idea that the state parks had any that they'd bring out.
But one of them, I thought, oh, this is going to be really hard, which it ended up still being really hard. But once you get into the groove of using it and stuff, and being able to like get over rocks and gravel and stuff, it's pretty fun to use.
Challenging but fun. It's something Finley says he's grateful for this holiday season.
My hope will probably be able to become a Paralympian, but for now, I'm just doing all these different sports so that I can get the experience.
In an effort to have more success stories like Finley's, Texas Parks and Wildlife has plans to increase the number of accommodating wheelchairs they have across the state. They also have plans to improve assistance for people who are visually impaired.
We ask people to give us 2 weeks notice, if you need an ASL interpreter, if you need something printed in Braille, if you need a wheelchair at a specific site. It's definitely something that Texas Parks and Wildlife is invested in and wants to make sure that we are providing lots of opportunities.
Plenty of opportunities so everyone can live fearlessly, just like Finn.
So I'm just glad that I get to explore it at an early age so that I can figure out what I want to do with my life.
Zaria Oates, KSAT 12 News.
Today marked 45 years for the Raul Jimenez Thanksgiving dinner. It's an annual tradition where San Antonio residents can get free meals for the holiday. Each year, the event serves more than 25,000 people across South Central Texas. That makes it one of the largest Thanksgiving meals in the country.
We're having a wonderful meal, and thank God for Raul Jimenez, who started this years ago.
Raul Jimenez gave me my first Thanksgiving dinner when I left the military. That was 25 years ago, and I come back ever since.
To learn more about the event, you can find it on our website, ksat.com. Volunteers for Meals on Wheels spent the morning delivering Thanksgiving meals to people all across San Antonio. This year, the nonprofit delivered around 3,000 meals. The CEO says that's the highest number ever. He says thanks to the sharing spirit of our community, those clients without family are not forgotten. Another annual Thanksgiving tradition here in San Antonio is Operation Home Cooking. Every year, thousands of families host Air Force trainees at JBSA Lackland who don't get to be with their families during the holiday. Photojournalist Adam Barraza got to spend some time today with one of the families hosting trainees this Thanksgiving.
I got on base and I went to the reception center, went inside, and they were kind of just standing in a line. The whole flight was standing in a line. It was kind of just, here's my name, and the next two came out, and that's when I met our two recruits.
A zebra puzzle?
Yeah, this is a zebra puzzle.
What does it look like?
What is this puzzle supposed to be?
That one.
I definitely, I know what they're going through being in boot camp, and I know it's a stressful situation. And just for them to be able to just relax for, even if it's a couple hours, have a home-cooked meal, I know they appreciate it, and so that definitely makes us feel good.
Definitely feels strange being out of the squadron because it's very strict back in BMT. Like, you're not really allowed to have your phone, you're not allowed to really walk anywhere without being in a detail or marching or at attention. I think it's really important, like, for mental health too. You have to take a chance to stop and breathe, and this is our chance to stop and breathe.
Typically, it's just my wife and I here on the holidays, so being able to help the recruits out and have them over for the holidays is big for us. And they chose to stand up and support their country and by enlisting in the military, and so it's the least that we can do.
Biscuits. Oh, biscuits. Homemade biscuits.
I'm definitely looking forward to dessert, the pies. We're making 3 pies today.
Well, I mean, my turkey, I wouldn't say it's famous, but it's pretty good. I think we'll definitely continue to do this if we can. I mean, this was a great experience for sure. And definitely try it out. Again, you're doing the country a great service. I mean, these recruits have chosen to support their country by being in the military, and so the least you can do is give back to the community that way.
No, I will save room for this. Yeah, save room.
I think it's also an opportunity for us as in BMT to show that the training that we've received exists outside BMT as well.
The fallen soldier plate there.
Oh, I didn't get gravy.
It's a really cool experience for the families and for the airmen themselves.
I like corn muffins, Mommy. Yeah, they're yummy.
It gives us at BMT a chance to have a break from the day-to-day stress that BMT gives us, and it's definitely a really nice break, and I know me and my wingman are very happy to be here, so for anybody who's out there on the fence about it, I would definitely say do it because it means a lot to us.
What a wonderful opportunity. And of course, we thank all of those in the military. Thank you for your service, especially over the holidays. And speaking of the holiday, hopefully that you had a wonderful one. It was cool out there. We had high temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. Looking ahead to our Friday, another cold start in store. Low temperatures dipping down into the 30s, near 40 degrees here in San Antonio. But I think we'll still see a leftover northeast breeze sustained at about 10 to 15 miles per hour first thing in the morning, which means it will feel like the 30s for many of us. So if you're stepping out early to snag any holiday shopping deals, be sure to bundle up because it is going to be, again, a chilly start to the day. Still cooler than average into the afternoon. High temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. Quiet this weekend, and then a few rain chances return to the forecast early next week. We're going to detail all those changes coming up in just a few.
All right, thank you, Mia. Now for a look at some of today's big headlines in your Nightbeat News Flash. 3 Americans who spent years detained in China are being reunited with their families just in time for Thanksgiving. This is what it looked like at JBSA Lackland last night when they arrived back in the U.S. The 3 are Mark Sweden, Kai Li, and John Leung. The White House says they were wrongfully detained by China. A Texas town is mourning the loss of an officer fatally shot while on duty. Greenville police officials said Officer Cooper Dawson was ambushed and shot several times. They say the suspect tried to run away from a traffic stop on Monday night. Even though he was hurt, Dawson was able to return fire and strike the man. Both men were taken to a hospital, and that 27-year-old officer, by the way, married with 3 kids. Dawson was the first officer in Greenville to be killed in the line of duty in more than a century. And that's your Nightbeat News Flash. Still to come, Black Friday and Cyber Monday are just around the corner, and while many of you are already shopping, fraudsters are gearing up to take advantage. How to protect yourselves from online shopping scams right after the break. Black Friday is already happening tomorrow, and Cyber Monday is almost here too. And the chances are a lot of you have already started your holiday shopping. That's why you should be keeping an eye out for holiday scams. Stephanie Cerna talked with the Vice President of Enterprise Fraud at Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union about how a lot of these scam artists are doing their best just to capture your payment information.
Some of the most common scams happening online this holiday season are where scammers mimic and impersonate legitimate retailers. However, a lot of these scams can also pop up when you're not looking. For example, when you're just browsing through social media.
And also something interesting too, maybe a lot of people maybe they weren't even shopping to begin with, they're on social media and they see these amazing deals. What can people specifically look out for?
Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of that through pop-ups and fake advertisements for these too good to be true deals. First thing is gonna be, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. But if you do happen to click on a link, look at the URL on the link, make sure that it has the security features present, like the padlock and the HTTPS. Look for contact information and look for reviews for these sellers as well.
Vice President of Enterprise Fraud at Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union, Alex Aguian, says you can also try to make contact with the retailer before making a purchase, or just resort to visiting a legitimate retail site that you are familiar with and make your purchase there.
Big thing too is if you click on a link that's advertised on social media, you're never going to want to provide your information, your card information. You're not going to want to provide your personal information. If you're shopping online at all, try to use a digital wallet payment services where it's encrypted data, where you don't have to go and enter in your actual information. You can use
something else to be careful with online. Purchasing gift cards.
In truth, what they're looking for is the fastest way to unload those funds and leave the victim with little recourse to get them back. Gift cards are treated just like cash when you redeem them. So once you give the information of that gift card, it's gone. They're going to try to trick you, create urgency, tell you that it's a deal you can't miss.
Stephanie Cerna, KSAT 12 News.
Also, watch out for fake websites when making travel plans. Make sure you find a legitimate booking site, and if you come across what you think is a scam, you can report it to your financial institution, or you can contact the FTC.gov or the Better Business Bureau. You can also learn more about these fraud scam trends at rbfcu.org. And this holiday season, kindness is popular. The Salvation Army's Parade of Kettles is going on right now. We're competing to help raise the most money to help families in need. Team KSAT's Kettle this year is Wicked themed. We're hoping you can help us make a difference for good. To make a donation, just scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen. Just $10 can give someone a warm meal. And Mia, okay, so I'm the team captain, so I decorated this, but I really want to give credit to my best friend because she did, literally all I did was paint that, and she did all the little designs and everything, and it's for a good cause.
You still need to get a ton of credit because even last year, it was what, Taylor Swift's Eras?
It was iconic.
Daniela is the best team captain for Team KSAT, so props to you too, just coming up with the themes and stuff. It's great.
Yeah, and hopefully, last year we didn't do so well with donations. I mean, every dollar counts, but I hope that this year we can beat some of the other TV stations in town.
This year, just bigger and better. Of course, for a great cause too, which is wonderful. All right, so let's now talk about weather for today, the day of giving. It was, yes, a cooler than average day. We had afternoon temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s, but one of the bigger things you probably noticed was the wind. Take a look at peak wind gusts across the San Antonio metro. 30 33-mile-per-hour peak wind gust was what we saw over at SA International. 32 miles per hour up in New Braunfels. Check out Hondo. They had a peak wind gust of 38 miles per hour out there in Medina County. Right now, Hondo not nearly seeing as high of wind gusts. We still have some gusts upwards of about 20 to 25 miles per hour here in San Antonio, and then stretching along and east of the I-35 corridor. I think we could continue to see some of this here and there through the overnight hours and still lingering into first thing Friday morning. The biggest thing is going to be sustained winds, still out of the northeast at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, but a few rogue gusts upwards of 20 miles per hour, still a possibility first thing in the morning. So when you tack that on to already cold air temperatures, feels like temperatures will likely be in the 30s for many locations for a few hours first thing tomorrow. So as we mentioned earlier, just kind of with your mental checklist, if you're heading out tomorrow to snag any holiday deals, be sure to bundle up. Take a look at air temperatures by 7 a.m. right around 40 degrees, I think, here in San Antonio, 41 in Floresville, 39 in New Braunfels. You get up into the hill country, though, some of the higher elevations, low to mid 30s. A brief light freeze, not completely off the table for a few areas, especially near Comfort and into Kerrville first thing tomorrow. But again, very brief and very light. We will be well above that threshold here in the Alamo City. Once the sun comes up, partly cloudy skies are expected to take us through most of the day. 56 degrees expected around lunchtime. We've got a high temperature pointed right around 61 here in San Antonio. I think the theme generally and in around the Alamo City will be upper 50s and low 60s, 62 in Converse, 60 in Rio Medina. Tomorrow in Tarpley, the high temperature is expected to reach about 60 degrees as well. Also slightly cooler than average and very similar to what we saw out there earlier today. Looking ahead to the weekend, still another cold morning, especially early Saturday. Still chilly into Sunday, but about 10 degrees warmer. High temperatures in the mid 60s. Overall, though, pretty quiet. Winds will be relatively light, so it's going to be a nice couple of days to get some of those outdoor holiday decorations up and running. We do have changes, though, in the forecast into next week, specifically on Tuesday. That's when rain chances not only return to the forecast, but also peak in the extended forecast. That's all going to be thanks to an area of low pressure that develops off to our south near the Gulf Coast. This is going to gradually track farther up to the north, and again, by Tuesday, light rain is expected. Generally expect a gray and dreary day. Total's not all that impressive, though. Upwards of about a quarter to maybe even 3/10 of an inch, certainly a possibility. If that verifies, though, notice your high temperatures potentially confined to the 50s on Tuesday before rain chances come down and we start to warm things up into the second half of next week. Overall, though, guys, this is one of the better stretches of cooler temperatures that we've seen so far this season.
So I know we need the rain, but I hate cold rain. That's the worst.
It is going to be a little chilly and a little dreary.
All right. Thank you, Mia. So, Nick, I know Cowboy fans had a lot to be thankful for. A lot of them were glued to their TV, and they did something for the first time that they haven't done all season.
Yeah, Daniela, believe it or not, it has taken the Cowboys 6 games to get their first home win of the season. We're going to break down the highlights of both halves and hear from the Cowboys themselves, plus a frustrated, plus the best rivalry in the state of Texas will write a new chapter on Saturday. We're going to hear from both Texas and Texas A&M head coaches right after the break. Some traditions, like seeing the Dallas Cowboys playing on Thanksgiving, never gets old. The boys welcome the New York Giants over for dinner, and after the Cowboys field goal, Drew Lock didn't have anybody open, so he decides to just take it himself, and he almost gets in, but he's ruled out at the 1-yard line, so they had to hand it off to Tyrone Tracy Jr., who bashes his way in for the touchdown. Another field goal from Brandon Aubrey made it 7-6, but Arian Overshone had some other ideas, tipping the pass to himself and returning it 23 yards for the pick six. The Cowboys took a 13-10 lead into halftime. Second half, Cooper Rush airs one out to Brandon Cooks for the touchdown in his first game back since week 4. His second touchdown catch of the season after an infection in his knee let out all of that frustration is what I meant to say. Later in the quarter, handoff to Rico Dowdle, who finds it in for 6. He finished with 112 yards to the ground today, and the Cowboys defense had 6 sacks in the game as the boys held on to win their first home win of the season, beating the Giants 27-20. Head coach Mike McCarthy shared his thoughts on getting the win at home.
You have to recognize, the way we've played in the past here, and the crowds are, it's an incredible place to compete. Our fans are great, and so yes, it's definitely overdue. So it was important to get the win on a lot of fronts, but it was really, really important to get a home win.
Been here on a lot of Thanksgiving days over the years, and finally getting to start one and play one was cool. You have turkey bowls when you're a kid, and you get to go have a real one today in the NFL. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun, and then obviously the win makes it even better.
As for what's next for the Cowboys, they'll have some time off before hosting the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football, December 9th, kicking off at 7:15 p.m. Well, the game before the Cowboys was in Detroit, where the Lions were hosting the Chicago Bears, and the Lions dominated the first half. Jared Goff finding his tight end Sam Laporta in the end zone. Detroit had a 16-0 lead at the break. But then Caleb Williams came out in the second half and threw 3 touchdowns, including this one to DJ Moore, to make it a 3-point game. But then with less than a minute to play, the Bears don't call a timeout, and they gave this game away to the Lions, 23-20. How about some more football on Turkey Day up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where the Packers are hosting the Miami Dolphins. This one is in the fourth quarter. Last time we checked, Packers leading 30-11. Well, it's probably the biggest game in the state of Texas this year. The Longhorns and the Aggies are clashing for the first time in 13 years. The athletes playing in this year's game were in elementary school when these two teams last played each other. Texas's offense has been at another level this season. So how does Texas A&M head coach Mike Elko feel about this matchup?
They present a lot of different challenges. They do a really good job scheming up matchups and leverage, and they can attack you on every phase of it with a lot of really talented players, from the tight end to the outside wide receivers to the running back to the quarterback, who's a tremendous player as well. And so it's a full field challenge. You got to cover them sideways and vertically really, really well to have success. And so that's a challenge, and we got to get ready for it.
Well, Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian is looking to get a rematch against the Georgia Bulldogs in the Southeastern Conference Championship game. But first things first.
As much as we'll acknowledge the rivalry, as much as we'll acknowledge, trying to play to get ourselves in the SEC championship game, we're going to come right back to today. And what do we need to do today to put forth a positive performance? And that's not new for us. That's kind of how we've always kind of gone about it. We acknowledge the game and what the game is about, and then we get right back to what do we need to do to perform.
Well, kickoff for this game will be at 6:30 p.m. right here on KSAT 12. All right, after the break, we're going to hear from the UTSA Roadrunners, who are already on their way to take on Army. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. The UTSA football team took flight this afternoon, heading up to West Point, New York, taking on the 9-1 Army Black Knights. Coming off 3 huge wins where the Roadrunners scored 44-plus points a game, but all 3 games were at home. And head coach Jeff Traylor told us that he hopes his guys can turn a page when it comes to road games.
I'd like to put the Alamo Dome on our jet and take it with us and bring Sosa with us and bring all of our fans with us and all the things that make you feel more comfortable at home. But how have we matured on the road? To be frank, we didn't keep our composure very well. You're like, well, it's just one play. Well, it was just one play about 10 times. And if we had any of those plays back, we're a whole different team right now. So how have we learned from that?
Kickoff for the Roadrunners game on Saturday is at 11 a.m. local time, so get your coffee with your football this weekend, Daniela.
I'm still bitter that they bit my mean green, so.
That was a fun game.
Not for me. All right, we'll be right back. This Thanksgiving, one South Carolina couple found a unique way to give back to their community. Jay and Judy Brissy have collected hundreds of thousands of Chick-fil-A reward points over the years. But instead of using them for themselves, they decided to feed dozens of people in need. The couple used half their points to give lunch at a facility supporting those with disabilities, which is incredible.
Yes, what a wonderful way to use all those rewards points that you gather.
And imagine how many times they've been going to Chick-fil-A over the years to get that many points.
So true. Yeah. That's the other side of that story. Exactly. All right. Cool tomorrow morning, cooler than average into this weekend.
All right, well, that does it for the Night Beat. Don't forget to join us tomorrow morning for Good Morning San Antonio. Good night.